Alright everybody, hello and welcome to In the Mixer. My name is Sean, and in this video we're going to outline some of our plans for the upcoming Football Manager 2019, both in the beta pre-release version of the game and in the full release once it comes on November 2nd. For those of you who haven't played the game before yourselves or are new to the series at all, if you pre-order the game through Steam or a similar online retailer, you get access to a beta version that is released 2 weeks before the full game. It has really dual purposes. It's both a quality assurance process for Sports Interactive, where they can hand the game to a bunch of testers and have them try and break it and work out any bugs or fixes that they need to before the full release. And on the other side, it also acts as like a last-minute marketing ploy. There are two schools of thought to how this can work out. One, everyone will start playing the game and absolutely loving it and thinking that the new features that they've added, or the new match engine, or the new teams, or the transfer updates are amazing and fantastic, and word will spread very quickly either around the YouTube and Twitch content creator community, or in the reviews that are up on Steam relatively early, that the game is fantastic and that everybody should be out there and buying it as soon as it hits that release date, and there'll be a spike in sales. The alternative is, and it has happened once or twice in previous versions of the game, that there'll be a whole bunch of bugs, there'll be a whole bunch of like keeper errors or back pass own goals, or something to that effect that people will complain about quite a bit across social media, and perhaps the people that were going to pre-order the game or get it on the actual release date will wait until there's a Steam sale or wait until it gets closer to Christmas and there's a cheaper rate or cheaper price for that sort of thing. So it could go either way, but I think over the years Sports Interactive kind of acknowledged how important that beta release actually is to how well the game is going to do, and they release a pretty much flawless version at this point. I think in the last 2 or 3 that I've played, that I haven't had any issues. I haven't had to report any bugs. I haven't had any big game crashes or fixes that needed to be implemented. It has just worked the way it's supposed to, and then once the final update comes out, it's just a little bit cleaner, it's a little bit sharper, the 3D engine's a little bit more polished, just because of that extra period they've had. So fingers crossed, this year will also be another year when the beta version is just as polished and just as high performing as the full release is. At the time of recording, there are 75 days to go until the 2nd of November, when the full version of Football Manager 2019 is due to be released. And using the same principles as the last couple of years, there's probably about 61 remaining until the release of that beta version and we get our first hands-on demonstration of what the game's actually going to be like. Given that you only have a limited window for your beta save, doing a really huge long-term save that focuses on developing an academy or overtaking a peer or a rival over a long period isn't really something that you should expect to see too often, both on this channel and with other content providers throughout YouTube and Twitch. It's because if you set those lofty goals, sometimes you won't achieve all of them in that sort of condensed time frame that you're looking at. What you're more likely to see are people going for really easily achievable goals that can be done in a short period of time, or they'll do some sort of challenge that there is a resolution to relatively quickly. For me personally, it's been super tough trying to work out exactly what it is that I want to do during the beta period of the game. Not for a lack of ideas, but just having trouble whittling them back down as to what they should be. Initially, I thought maybe I should go my favourite team, Manchester United, and see if I could return them to former glories. Maybe go after a treble season again like that in the 2 or 3 years that I'll potentially manage them in those episodes. Or maybe I could do something with a Melbourne City, based locally here in Melbourne. I don't live too far from their training facilities. I go to all of their games as a foundation member. I could do quite a bit in terms of recording live games, live training sessions, and then integrating them into the series itself. Or alternatively, you look at really challenges that people put out there, like trying to overtake a Barcelona or Real Madrid as an Atletico Madrid or Bilbao or Villarreal or whoever it happens to be. Or then there's other ones like people wanting to return teams to previous championship or European glory, like Benfica, Celtic, Ajax, both the Milan teams, Inter and AC. One of the truly tough things about Football Manager is that it gives you so many different opportunities and so many different save types to go and do all these different formats that sometimes you're just spoiled for choice, and the hardest thing is whittling down to the exact one that you want to focus on and develop your time into and try and make as entertaining and engaging as humanly possible. One of the few pieces of information already confirmed for Football Manager 2019 is that there's an agreement now between Sports Interactive and the German Bundesliga for full rights of those particular leagues. Now, the German leagues have always been a part of Football Manager, but however, a lot of the team names were different. Borussia Dortmund was just Dortmund, Bayern Munich was just Bayern, and I think Schalke was Gelsenkirchen, which took me years and years to figure out who they actually were. And then also the German and Japanese national teams had fake players in them. So they were greyed out players that you couldn't purchase. And if you had someone in your squad like a Mesut Ozil or Manuel Neuer or Thomas Müller or Philipp Lahm, they wouldn't actually get called up into that German national side because it was comprised entirely of faked players. Old school Pro Evolution players may remember similar things with Merseyside Red, Blue, North London Gunners, and individual players like Roberto Larcos, the famous Brazilian left back, or Alan Shearer, the English forward. Just when they didn't have the rights to either the player names or the actual clubs themselves, they came up with a similar situation. Now, the Football Manager community always pulls together patches and fixes and things like that relatively quickly through sites like FM Scout or Sorted Out SI, or whichever communities you happen to be a part of. And they're usually out within a day or two of the actual beta version coming out, so that you can get that patch in there that fixes the club names and it fixes the German national team. However, it's really great that we don't have to do that again for this year, and there's another limited layer that we add on. And I think it'd be good for Sports Interactive moving into that German market as well. Maybe we get a little bit more development in the game if it sells really well, and we start integrating more and more things that we see in other Sega games and Sega systems into the match engine of Football Manager 2019. Now, despite their struggles at the recent World Cup, this announcement seems like the perfect time to start celebrating Germany and the Bundesliga and everything that they've accomplished in the last 10 years by taking control of a German team throughout my beta save. If you have a preferred team or an ideal short-term save that you are aware of within Germany, please let me know in the comment section below. As with all things we try and do in this channel, it'll be formed entirely by what you guys want to see. Alternatively, if we don't get much feedback, I will put a shortlist together, and there'll be a future video coming out 2 months before the game is released on the 2nd of September, outlining a shortlist and a selection criteria where we actually pick what team we'll be using for that beta series, and to build a little bit of hype once the actual videos are out in a couple of months' time. For the full version of the game, I have a similar problem where there are a million different series and a million different saves that I could potentially look at doing, but what I really want to do is focus down on one particular series and make it the best content that I possibly can, with extra vignettes or extra things filmed out there in the real world, or whatever it happens to be. So rather than having 10 different saves across Twitch and my own personal ones and the YouTube channel itself, I'd just like to focus on one particular series, do it as well as I possibly can, and while the channel is still young and still growing, put as much effort as I can into that one particular save. Now, no matter what games I've been playing in Football Manager in a particular year, whether I've just won the Champions League 3 years in a row, or I'm playing a local save here with Melbourne City and developing Australian players up or making it the biggest club in the country, there is one particular save type that I always find myself going back to and starting over again, and when you get to the end of it, you just want to start again from the start again because it's so incredibly addictive and so incredibly rewarding, and that is a lower league management save within England. Those of you that have played through these before, you'll know that there are some truly heroic databases that exist out there in the community, some going even as low as level 22 within the English scope. Huge shout out to any Fair Warp FC fans that are out there. It's an incredibly challenging but super rewarding task if you actually try and go from that bottom level all the way up to the Premier League. But as you'll notice, many of the YouTube and Twitch content creators will sort of focus on lower league management saves. I think Dr. Benji has had probably the greatest save that any Football Manager content creator has ever had with his Thames FC series this year, and it'll be really sad for a lot of people that have been watching it every day when it eventually comes to an end in a couple of months. I think Lelujo is currently working with Nuneaton Borough, where he's filming actual content at their ground, in their stadium, at their training ground with their players, which is another level of content creation that I don't think anybody's really explored within the Football Manager spaces yet. And Loki Doki has an Ultratrim save that he's going to hit 200 episodes in before the release of the next game. And not to forget, Golden FM has also announced that he'll be bringing back his Regen Rovers series that's been on a couple of years hiatus, where he just develops from Regen or New Gen players, however you want to word it. One of the reasons these saves are so popular is that you slowly fall in love with both the club and the players that are representing it. It's very easy to start with nothing at the bottom levels of the club competition and then slowly working your way up to the Champions League. And I think winning trophies and qualifying for Europe and beating relegation and making playoffs becomes all the more important when you're just not loading up a save and going PSG immediately and buying everybody that you could ever possibly want. To the times when you just got beaten on the last day to miss out on playoff promotion, to heartbreaking cup final defeats, to the joys of finally getting to the Premier League. Some of the most emotional and rewarding experiences that you'll ever get playing Football Manager can take place within those lower league management saves, and that's why I'm so excited to be undertaking my own. Some of my fondest memories are taking Blythe Spartans in FM12 all the way from the bottom levels of English leagues, all the way up to the Premier League. I had the likes of Ross Barkley and Suso, who was an ex-Liverpool junior, and I still remember everything about them and the systems that we played and the way that we wanted to go about our football, and a couple of different mystery regens that I had throughout that period, because these things just stick with you and they resonate. Similar to the beta save with the German side, your feedback will determine a short list of teams that we actually go on to manage once the game is released, and there'll be a full review of those teams and an instruction on what we're going to do moving forward on the 2nd of October, so one full month before the game is actually released. So that's it. Those are my Football Manager 2019 plans. And while the clubs themselves are a little bit shrouded in mystery, they at least give you guys an understanding of what's going to be happening on the channel over the next couple of days, weeks, and months. And more than anything, those two critical dates of the 2nd of September and 2nd of October to announce our new series once they're due to begin. As always though, the channel will be driven by a tremendous amount by what you guys want to see on the channel. So if you have your own German clubs that you really want to see get involved, or you have lower league teams that you support or you want to see more content around, please put them in the comment section below. I will respond to every single comment I get while the channel is still small and growing. And more than anything, I just want to make content that you guys want to see. If you want to be kept up to date on future videos, feel free to hit that subscribe button, or alternatively, you can find In The Mixer on both Twitter and Facebook. There will be links in the description below. More than anything though, thank you so much for watching. I'm incredibly excited about what we're going to achieve in the next couple of months as we build up towards the release of Football Manager 2019. As always though, I've been Sean and I will see you in the mixer.